Companions have been a staple of the Fallout franchise since the very first game. They're the people who help us defeat enemies, give us people to talk to while on our journey, and just give us a little bit more world building by showing off different parts of the world that we may not have experienced in our gameplay, but they definitely did in theirs, if you want to call it that. But how often do we even think about how those companions rank, where they go in our tier list of who's the best? Well, I decided to figure that out here today for myself, because I'm going to be doing a tier list for every single Fallout companion. Yes, every single one, from Fallout 1 to Fallout 4, not including Fallout 76 because we don't have companions in there, we have allies, and technically if you want to count your teammates as companions you can, but it'd be a little bit more awkward to romance them. But anyway, we're going to be going through every single Fallout companion and seeing where they rank on this tier list. You can see we have them all down here with names, which is good because I don't remember all the names for some of these. You'll see why. But yeah, we're not going to even get into why I'm doing this or anything. This is just for fun, for Fallout, and yep, we're going to go ahead and get started. So it looks like for our first companion we have Arcade. Okay, so when it comes to Fallout New Vegas, I love all the companions in there. I think they're all great, mostly. We'll get to that. But Arcade is definitely one of my favorite companions. I think he is very, very funny with how he reacts to things in the world, and he uses science and philosophy, Greek philosophy, and all that kind of stuff to kind of make certain jokes or jabs at some of the places and companions and factions in the world, which is just so hilarious to me. And we learn about his backstory, but well, he wasn't really in the Enclave, but the fact that his family was, and now he's trying to fight. Should I encourage them to fight, and should I, join up with them again, embrace that part of my life, or should I turn my back on it? A+. I love that. So Arcade is definitely God tier companion. I always have him as a companion when I play Fallout New Vegas. Now, as to do I encourage him to fight with the Enclave or leave him behind? Well, I usually try and say he shouldn't be ashamed of his past. However, knowing what happens if he embraces his past, I kind of always in the end tell him, don't fight with the Enclave, stay with the followers, they're doing good for you, just because I want him to have a happy ending. So, yeah, it is a little bit awkward. He's like, you were just telling me the whole time I should embrace them, right? You're saying I shouldn't fight with them? Look, dude, I'm just looking out for you. But yeah, Arcade, definitely S tier companion. And we have another great one here, Boone. So I didn't have Boone as a companion for a long time when I was playing through Fallout New Vegas. I just never knew, because usually when I was in Novak and I would go up to Dinky the Dinosaur, it would always be Manny Vargas who was the sniper, because I always went during the day. I never went at night, so I never knew about Boone. I just knew that there was a sniper at night, but I didn't really think anything about it. So when I got Boone as a companion after I realized who he was, and I started, taking him around and, having him fight with me and talk to him a little bit, I realized how much of an attractive guy he is and how much he really does need the courier's help with all this. The fact that what happened to his wife and then what happened at Bitter Springs is just, it just makes it really hard not to sympathize with Boone and want to do everything you can for this guy. I always tell him you shouldn't focus so much on the past and that you should just try and focus on the future and go from there, and it really does help him. But Boone is definitely another God tier companion. He is great. And now we have our first Fallout 3 companion with Butch. So the reason I put Butch and didn't recruit is because I never really could. I was always a good guy in Fallout. I always play as a good character, and in order to have Butch as your companion, you have to have neutral karma. And since I didn't do enough bad things to have neutral karma, I never got Butch as a companion. Plus, even if I did, I don't think I really want to, is if I want to do a completion run, because Butch is pretty much a bully. He bullies you the entire time in Vault 101, and it's only towards the end that he kind of warms up to you a little bit after you save his mom, if you decide to do that. And even then, that doesn't make up for the years of abuse we had on this guy. He probably threatened to shank me once. He had that switchblade. He did, but I don't know if he still does. But yeah, so didn't recruit him. Even if I did recruit him again, it would just be for completion. And I probably wouldn't want to anyway. I've been bullied before, and I would not want any of my bullies as my companions in the apocalypse. No, sir. So didn't recruit Butch because I couldn't, and even if I had to put him someplace besides didn't recruit, I might put him in just okay, because maybe even shit tier. I don't know, but yeah, definitely didn't recruit and probably wouldn't even if I could. Oh, but now I have another one, Kate. So you may have noticed that in one of my latest shorts, I showed off 3 of the female companions that you can romance in Fallout 4, and Kate's among them. And so you might think I have a high opinion of Kate, and I do, but I wouldn't put her in God tier. I like Kate. I really feel for what she went through as a companion. You know, the fact that she was abused by her parents and then sold off by him and had to kind of work for her freedom. And she has a drug problem, so, you know, we have to help her with that. And once we get her off that drug problem, if we use drugs in front of her, she doesn't like that, so we kind of have to watch ourselves around her. This is kind of the companion stuff that I want to see in Fallout, and it's so nice to actually see it here. I do romance Kate in playthroughs, I do, but, and just compared to some of the other companions in Fallout, I don't recruit her that much. I mean, I try to, but, you know, I don't always recruit her or just recruit her later and deal with her later. She's great. I do love Kate, and what she went through is tragic, and I want to help her. But she just doesn't reach the God tier. A little bit abrasive. She doesn't always like to do the things I like to do. I try to be good. She doesn't always want to be good. She wants to, you know, swindle people out of their caps and tell people to fuck off, you know. So I kind of have to put her in great tier, because she is great, but she's not God tier. But now we have Rose of Sharon Cassidy. Easy God tier. She is such a fun companion. She likes to drink a lot, which is, you know, a lot of people say would probably be bad for you, but I think it's kind of funny when she does it. I know Kate does that too, but again, she doesn't always like to do good things. Cass does. She likes to have justice served, especially with her caravan, what happened to it. She doesn't like going through the NCR to do it, but she'll eventually let us do it if we want to. And so the funny thing she does, like when you're crouching down, and she's like, "Shh, we're hunting shitheads." It's like she is such a fun companion to be around. She is also quite a fine companion, if I do say so myself. And I know a lot of you think the same thing, so don't get me in the comments for that. But yeah, Cass is definitely a god tier companion. Like I said, probably with Arcade, I always recruit Cass whenever I can. She's always a fun thing to have. I usually like to have her and Rex all at the same time, because it's just kind of a nice little dynamic there, you know? I like to think that Cass is nice to Rex when we're in a group. But yeah, Cass, definitely God tier. Anyone who sold her out to the Van Graffs, you can go ahead and just, F off, all that kind of stuff. We are not doing that here. Cass is a great thing. Plus, I didn't even mention this, but I think it's kind of great that she actually is something kind of unique when she is the daughter of a previous companion, which we'll get to in a little bit. We really haven't had that. We've had, characters who have gone from being side characters to companions before, but we've never had, I think it's the first time we actually had someone who we travel with them, and then, we later on, when we have a new player, we're traveling with their descendants. That's kind of an interesting thing. And I'm wondering if, maybe if one day Cass has a daughter or a son or something like that, we'll get to travel with them too. Who knows? Next up is Sharon. So Sharon is a companion who I didn't really know for the longest time that you could get. I met him in Underworld, but I didn't know you could, buy out his contract and get him as a companion. And because of that, I didn't really travel with him that often. But once I did, I think he's a decent companion. I like him. He's basically just a hired body. I love how the first thing he does when you found out that you bought him from his old contract owner is that he just goes up and shoots the guy, and it's like, all right, let's go. It's that kind of energy that I really enjoy, and he's a ghoul. Having a ghoul companion is always a little fun, and so. But again, I didn't really travel with him that often. I like him, but if I don't travel with someone that often, I don't really feel that much of a connection to them. So I'll put Sharon in great tier because I love his attitude to things. And I love how he's just kind of like, yeah, whatever. But I can't put him in God tier because, again, I didn't travel with him that often. Clover. Yeah, I never even knew that she was a companion for the longest time until, I was looking at the companion list in Fallout 3 a few years ago, and I found out, oh, you can recruit her. I have literally nothing to say about her because I never traveled with her. I think I saw her more while watching Oxhorn's videos than I ever did just, in game. So I have nothing to say about her. Clover, yeah, she's not really my cup of tea. But again, we go to another one, Codsworth. So I love Codsworth. He is such a nice little robot. He of course he tries to act like, you're his master, he's just the butler and all that kind of stuff. But the fact that he also sees you as family and he kind of lets it out over the year, when you travel with him, is just so sweet. Codsworth was the first companion that I recruited besides Dogmeat in Fallout 4. I recruited Dogmeat when I found him, and then once I traveled back to Sanctuary, and I found out Codsworth wanted to come with me, I immediately took him, because Codsworth is just so fun. That Britishness, that upper chipperness that he has with him at all times, but he's not afraid to, have the kind of snarky British attitude to him as well. It's just great. I think it's amazing what they do with him in-game, and how they kind of show that the war did take a toll on him. For a lot of robots, they don't even know that the war happened, or if they do know it happened, they don't know it happened that long ago. They think that, oh, it was just like a few days ago or something like that. No, not like 200 years. Codsworth, he kind of had to go through some stuff, and I'm so glad that we were able to come out and help him with that. I just wish we could have talked to him more about Sean and what happened afterwards, or maybe bring Synth Sean to him and be like, hey, Codsworth, look who it is, and something like that. I don't know. But yeah, Codsworth definitely goes in God tier companion. I love him. He is such a great little guy. Oh. So this one's a little bit interesting. Star Paladin Cross. So, the funny thing I will say again, when I first played Fallout 3, I kind of didn't know about companions. I didn't know you could get them. I didn't know you could recruit them. I don't remember coming across any, or if I did, I just didn't meet the requirements to get them. Like I said, I went to Underworld, I met Sharon, but I just didn't know he was a companion that you could get. Same thing with all the ones in Megaton or something like that. Like, I didn't know. But Star Paladin Cross was actually the first companion I ever got, because I was going through the Citadel, where Liberty Prime was, and suddenly this person just runs up to me, introduce themselves, and be like, hey, I escorted your father and you to Vault 101, and I wanted to, continue traveling with you. And I was like, oh, okay. So I took Cross as a companion, went out into the wasteland, and she died like 10 minutes later to a Supermutant attack. And that was it. Like, I didn't use her again. That was the one and only time I ever had her as a companion, and then I just never bothered. It's kind of nice she has a connection to you, being the one that escorted you and your dad to Vault 101, but yeah, I don't want to say she's like bad, but I had her one time as a companion. She died after 10 minutes, and then just there's nothing. So, I'll put her in okay tier, because I feel like if I did travel with her a little bit more, maybe I would have had a better connection. But the fact that I only had her once, she was my first companion, and then she died 10 minutes later, yeah, just not really my cup of tea. Curie. Oh my gosh, what can I say about Curie? She is the most precious person in Fallout 4. She is the companion, the female companion that I always recruit every single time. Curie is my sweet little robot who I just love so much. That little French accent, her innocence, I believe the term is Yahoo, and oh, people say it's wrong to romance her because she's a synth, yada 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 yada, whatever. No. I'm telling you right now, Curie is definite A tier. I'm putting her up there near Arcade. Like, that's how amazing she is. She is the best female companion in Fallout 4. I romance her every single time. She is so cute and precious. The fact that she wants to help so many people, she's so scientific, but yet she's so innocent about the world, yet so smart about it as well. You can't help but love Curie. And I do love Curie. She is literally the best female companion I've ever had. I'm just gushing over her right now. I gotta move on. Paladin Danse. Okay. So Paladin Danse is pretty cool. He's a Brotherhood of Steel soldier who we meet pretty early on. And, he's very dedicated to the cause of the Brotherhood. So much so that even when you find out that he's a synth, he still says, like, yeah, I should be destroyed. I'm a synth. I am the enemy here. You cannot trust me. he is that dedicated, but he also is a good person deep down. Like, he cares about the people who he serves under. He cares about us when he, offers to sponsor us for a Brotherhood position, and he's great in power armor. He's just a tank in that. So it's always good to have him around for fighting, just for to talk to. He's great. I hate every single time I do a playthrough that's like anti-Brotherhood, like with the Railroad or with the Institute, and I have to destroy Dance. It's just like, ugh. It really gets into you. Dance is great. Just because of like how dedicated and how he doesn't like certain things if he don't go strictly for the Brotherhood, I can't necessarily say that he is a god tier companion. He is definitely above Kate and in the great tier. Dance is probably the best of the great tier, and like I said, if I do a Brotherhood playthrough, or if I'm just trying to do a regular playthrough of Fallout 4 for, like, say, the Minutemen, I still always recruit Dance because he's a great companion to have around. Okay, now for this next one here, we're getting into the Fallout 1 and 2 companions, of which I don't know that many. I didn't really use a lot of companions in Fallout 1 and 2, so this Davin guy, I don't even know, I don't know who he is, so I'm just going to put him in didn't recruit. That's probably going to happen for a lot of Fallout 1 and 2 companions, but there are a few that I do know, and I will talk about, but we gotta move on, because Davin, don't know. But now from Davin to Deacon! Deacon is an interesting one, because, again, I didn't really know he was a companion up until I did the Railroad playthrough, and he offered to come with me, and, it kind of snowballed off from there. I like Deacon. I think he's kind of a mysterious dude, but he's also kind of funny. Like when he tries to use the override code on the Mr. Handy in Covenant, or when he tries to, it's like, I'm trying to convince the newest recruit that I'm actually President Eden. It's like, you don't know so much about him, and he just likes to have shits and giggles with that so often. So, he's so much fun to be around. I wouldn't say that he's a god tier companion, because, again, you don't really know if he's being genuine. I like to have a genuine connection with my companions, and you don't always know if he's telling the truth. Now, I know that's part of his policy, like, you gotta be secretive because, we never know who's listening, or who's an Institute spy, or something like that. I get that, but because of that, you can't really make the biggest connection with Deacon. He's so mysterious, people think that he's a lone wanderer, which, no, he's not. So, I can't say that he's god tier, but he definitely is great. I'd say, again, now, I would put him below Kate, but before Sharon. Deacon's a great guy. Ed E. So, this one is kind of interesting because Eddie is basically he's just like a robot companion, dime a dozen, kind of like Codsworth or something like that. But he doesn't speak, but you learn so much about him. He has such a personality. He's a little snarky. He can be scared, fearful. He goes through the whole range of emotions with him just by using beeps and boops. He's very useful as a workshop, and the history they gave him being with the Enclave on the East Coast, and then they were going to scrap him so they could work on Hellfire Power Armor, so the guy was like, just fly away to Navarro. He went across the whole country, got all the way to Vegas, before he was shot down, and he came to our position. He just has such a fascinating history, and like I said, kind of like with Arcade, I always take Ed E with me as a companion. I always go and repair him, take him from Prim, and we go out traveling. He's good. I also kind of like how, being a member of the Enclave, technically, or from the Enclave, people are interested in him. The Brotherhood falls to the Apocalypse. I always give him over to the followers, because I want them to use his research for good. So I always give Eddie to the followers, but then I get back and I get some better weaponry from him. But yeah, Eddie is definitely, I want to put him in God tier, but one, I think I have too many of them in God tier already, and I don't think he reaches that God tierness. I definitely say, okay, I'm going to put him above everyone else for great, because Eddie is a great companion. I always have him, but I just don't think he's god tier. I don't know, there's something about it. I hate putting Codsworth over Eddie, but I think it makes sense. Because you have an emotional connection to Codsworth. With Eddie, not so much. I mean, the only Eddie that can actually really die is the copy one in the Divide, and that's always optional. So, you know. And besides, I got another one here who I'm going to be putting in God tier, Fox. I already said it, so I might as well do it. I'm going to put him, yeah, right there, between Boone and Cass. So, with Fox, as I said, we started battling Cross with my first companion in Fallout 3. And once she died, I didn't really have any companions afterwards until I was leaving Raven Rock. And who did I see coming towards me, carrying a Gatling laser, firing at everything, and coming to my rescue? Fox. And Fox became my first true companion. He was with me throughout the rest of the game, throughout all the DLCs. Whenever I do a playthrough again of Fallout 3, I always recruit Fox. Because he's such an interesting character. He's a super mutant who was mutated along with all the other ones in Vault 88. Or was it Vault 87? I can't remember. I think it was Vault 87. But anyway, he was mutated with all the other super mutants in the Vault. And yet, he was different. And because of that, they locked him up. But then he used the terminal in there to learn, to, you know, think for himself, to speak clearly, to have an actual mind. And once we free him and give him that, he is so indebted to us, he comes to our rescue, and he wants to come out and help us. This is probably one of the best, if not to me, the best super mutant companion we've had in the modern Fallout games. We'll come back to some of the others later. But yeah, I think Fox is a great companion. I always have him with me for Fallout 3. To me, he is the companion for Fallout 3 for me, because he was the first true companion I had that didn't die on me in like 10 minutes. He was with me for the whole game from the moment I recruited him outside Raven Rock. So yeah, Fox is definitely God tier. And now we come to another mutant, Gorrus. So I did have Gorrus as a companion when I played through Fallout 2. I think it was kind of cool how we get an intelligent Deathclaw. You can do some pretty powerful attacks in our party. I know, I honestly think we should have another intelligent Deathclaw somewhere in the game. Even if it's not a companion, I think we should have some more intelligent Deathclaws, but who knows, we might have them in Season 2 of Fallout. I don't know. But Gorrus is great. I don't have much to say about them because I didn't really talk to them that much during the game. There's not much I can really say about them because of that, so... But they're an intelligent Deathclaw that you can have fight for you. So definitely great tier, Gorrus. Hancock. Okay, so Hancock is going to be a little bit interesting because I kind of like what he is. Like, he's a ghoul. He's not a pre-war ghoul. He's one post-war. He is the brother of, May McDonough from Diamond City before he got turned into a synth, or maybe, after. I don't know, but Hancock is an interesting companion just because of, his history. He didn't like what things were happening in Diamond City, so he found a good neighbor. He became its mayor, and then he took an experimental drug, became a ghoul, and then started wearing the outfit of John Hancock, and took his name, and then became this badass mayor of Goodneighbor. All well and good. However, I never really got anything more out of that, so it just seems like, once you learn about his backstory and all that kind of stuff, it's sad. He doesn't really seem that upset about it, really. The one thing he's really upset about is that he never got to have a good relationship with his brother, I guess, but to me, I think Hancock is just okay. No, I think he's better than Star Paladin Cross by far, but Hancock to me is just okay. Could be better. Now, Ian, this is interesting. Ian, I think, was the first companion we ever got in Fallout. You could recruit him, I think, in Shady Sands, and because of that, he is iconic because of that. He is the first companion we ever get, and also, knowing his backstory about what happened to him at Necropolis, again, I don't really have much of a connection with him, so I have to put him in just okay tier, because there's not much to say about him, but because of his backstory and his iconic stature as the first companion we can get in Fallout 1, yeah, he definitely is, at the very least, okay. Jericho didn't recruit. Again, you kind of have to have, I think, like bad karma in order to recruit him, and I didn't even get far enough to get Butch as neutral karma. So, never really had him as a companion. I met him in Megaton, but never did anything with him. And to me, he just doesn't seem that interesting, so yeah. John Cassidy. Now, most of what I have to say about him kind of comes from the fact that he is Rose of Sharon Cassidy's father, and the fact that he was, again, one of the companions for Fallout 2. So I'm going to have to put him kind of with Ian in okay tier. I don't have much to say about him just because I didn't really use him that much as a companion. I did have him as one. It was kind of difficult to recruit. I think you have to give him like medicine or something like that. So. But yeah. And also, he abandoned his daughter. I don't know, like, maybe something happened to him, maybe he had a good reason, but we don't know that for sure. All we know is he left one day, didn't come back. So, yeah, we'll just put him in okay tier. Katja, again, don't have anything to say because I didn't recruit them. Lenny, I think it's another one. Yeah, I didn't recruit them. I have nothing to say about them because I have no idea who the heck they are. Lily, okay. So, remember when I said that when it came to mutants, that Fox was the best and the others weren't that great, except for a few? Lily is one of those ones where she isn't a bad companion, at least to me, but she's not great. It is kind of tragic what happened to her. She was in Evolved, that got raided by the Master, she got turned to a Nightkin, and nowadays she has to take these pills in order to keep her rage under control. But the more she does that, the more she forgets her grandchildren. But if she does stop taking her pills, and therefore gets to keep all of her memories of her grandkids, she goes crazy, and sometimes she can't control herself. It's really sad, and I feel for her, but besides that, there's not really much going for her. I got through her companion stuff pretty quickly, and so I didn't really spend that much time with her. She's always one that either I forget to recruit in Fallout New Vegas, or I just recruit her just to get it over with, and that's done. So I probably will have to put her in okay. I can't put her anywhere else because she's not great, she's not God, but she's not shit, and I did recruit her, so I can't put and didn't recruit. Now as for McCready, so I actually like McCready. He was fun. He was a fun character to interact with in Fallout 3, and so the fact that we got him later on as a companion in Fallout 4. Pretty cool. I do think McCready is a good companion. I do. In fact, I put him in. I think he's a great companion. I definitely think he does have some greatness in him, and that the fact that he's trying to improve himself and help his son does make him more. I get more of an emotional attachment to him than I would like someone like, again, Starbound Cross, Lily, or Hancock. You know, I just feel more for him, and because of that, I have to put him in great tier. He's a good fighter, and again, kind of learning about his backstory and what he's been up to since Fallout 3 is pretty interesting. We learn a little bit more about the Capital Wasteland from him, so good thing to have. Now, Marcus. Now, Marcus is one of those companions from Fallout 2 that I always recruit, because he is, to me, the best super-mutant companion that you can get in Fallout. He's well-spoken, he has interesting history, being a part of the Master's army before leaving, and then meeting his Brotherhood soldier, who he fought against, but then they became friends. And now he ran a town, helped destroy the Ore Rig with the Chosen One, and then later on found another town for super mutants. It's like, Marcus is an interesting companion. He has a very smooth voice. We might potentially be seeing him in Fallout Season 2 if the trailer is anything to go by, or just regular super mutant town now. But yeah, Marcus definitely is, to me, the best super mutant companion, so I have to put him above Fox in God tier. I honestly wish we could have had him as. It would have been so cool if in Fallout 2 we could have had him as a companion, and then in Fallout New Vegas when we find him again, we could have also had him. Like, instead of Lily, have Marcus again and get more out of him. Maybe it would have been cool. I don't know, but yeah, definitely a good man. Okay, Miria. Again, I never recruited her, so I can't say, whether or not she's a great companion or not. Maybe that'll change one day. Maybe all these companions I never got, I'll one day get to them eventually, but nothing to say because I never recruited her. Myron. He's a shit tier companion. He's so bad at fighting. He is so misogynistic and full of himself and egotistical. Just because he invented Jet, supposedly, depending on what Bethesda wants to do. So yeah, it's like he is just a shit man. Myron, he's so I squirm a little bit whenever he talks. He's just like, hey ladies, it's me, Myron. Oh, yeah. It's like, no. Myron is a shit companion, and I only recruited him once just because, again, I wanted to see what he was like. He was a bad companion, I'll tell you that right now. I'm glad he got stabbed by some jet junkie in Reno. Good for him. Bye-bye, Myron. But from a shit tier companion to the A-est of A tiers, S's of S tiers, we have Nick Valentine, who is easy god tier, the Fallout companion. He is my favorite Fallout companion. All the reasons why I love him. His attitude, his voice, his sense of duty, his justice, the way he kind of sees the world and sees himself, his backstory, his future that we help decide by helping him out with his companion quest. Nick Valentine is everything that you'd want to have in a Fallout companion. He's interesting, he has a great backstory, has a great look, has a great attitude, great voice. There's like nothing about Nick that I don't like. The way he's able to deflect criticism or any kind of snarky attitude to him, like, no machine should have free will. Why? You upset you had to give yours up? It's like, that to me is so great to see. Someone like Nick is just like not bothered at all by whatever people say about him just because he heard so much before. And again, his backstory that we got about him in the Institute, only to be expanded upon then with Far Harbor and Dima, is just... I could gush about Nick a lot, but it's easy to say he is my favorite Fallout companion. I want to see more of him. He's a robot. I want to see him in other Fallout games. Maybe he is like a side character you can meet. It'd be kind of cool if he became like a recurring theme in Fallout games that at least set on like the East Coast, or maybe like near Boston or something like that. Maybe if we go to New York, he's up there or something. Or maybe if we go back to Washington, D.C. for whatever reason, we can see Nick. I don't know. I want to see more of Nick because he's such a great companion. He is, to me, the best Fallout companion we ever had. And the fact that we got him in Fallout 4, which some people say is not really the best RPG or even the best Fallout game, is crazy. Like, did they put all of their effort into just the companions from this game to make them that good? I don't know. But now we have Piper. So Piper was the first human companion I ever got in Fallout. I, went to Diamond City with Codsworth, and then I did Piper's interview or whatever, and then I had her along as the companion. And she was my main human companion for a while until I got Nick. Well, he's not really human, but he's human enough. So I had Piper a lot. Of course, I did romance her whenever I get the chance to. A lot of people say she looks a lot like the dead spouse, Nora, for the Sole Survivor, and because of that, a lot of people say they are the one that they should end up with. So, Carrie's the one for me, but Piper is definitely a great companion. The fact that, what happened to her family, her dad, and how she took it into her own hands, what she's like now, facing all this criticism, even though she's right about the Institute, she's right about the mayor, she's an interesting character to me, and that's why I like her so much. And she is unfortunately not up there with the gods here, but I would put her up there above Dance for great tier. Piper is a great companion. Preston. Okay. So everyone has what they say about Preston. Another settlement needs your help, we'll mark it on your map. It's like, we get it. Preston can be annoying. And he is. I also do have a little bit of, respect for him because, what he went through as the Minuteman. He believed in them so much. He joined up, and then only to see it crumble before him till he was the only one left. It is sad. And the fact that he probably would have done something really, really, really bad to himself if we hadn't come along. I just want to help this guy when I can. But that being said, he is really annoying when it comes to... Like, if it wasn't for those, constant companion quest things, I might put him in another tier, but I'm sorry. I have to put Preston... He is above Myron by a long shot, but again, if it wasn't for the constant, raiding and quest thing, I'd probably put him okay tier. but the constant quest you just make, like, you can't even go near him without him saying that he found a new spot for a new settlement or someone needs our help. You know, I feel like maybe if they had done that maybe until you got like the castle done, and then once the castle was done, you don't get anything from him unless you know, like maybe, I don't know, maybe like you have minimum radio turned on, I don't know, something to make it so that he wasn't always constantly telling you where to go. So unfortunately I had to put him in shit tier. Now Raul. So the funny thing about Raul is that I have had him as a companion before. I do like his backstory, I do like his attitude. The fact that he's voiced by Danny Trejo is great. And a lot of people say that he is probably one of the better companions in Fallout New Vegas, and they want to see him in like Season 2 and all that kind of stuff, and whatever. Honestly, to me, I never really got that far with him as a companion because, of course, you have to talk to certain people to show that even though you're old, you can still be worthwhile. But the problem is, I always get Raul usually after I've helped the boomers, and once you help the boomers, Loyal disappears from the game as a bug, and I don't play on consoles, so I can't just like load him back in. So I never really got that far in Raul's quest unless I did his companion quest like really, really early. So because of that, I never really traveled with him that often. I think he does have a tragic backstory with, you know, his sister and what happened in Mexico and the ranch and all that kind of stuff. But because of that, and the fact that I never really got a chance to really use him much as a companion, I can't put him in God tier, and I can't put him in great tier either. I'm going to put him at the top of okay tier, and if you're going to come at me in the comments saying Raul should have been God tier or something higher, well, hey, good for you, not for me. This is my ranking, okay? Alright, good. Next up we have RL3. Never recruited him. I didn't even know he was an option. I think maybe one time when I was playing Fallout 3, I kind of remember coming across a guy selling a Mr. Gutsy combat unit, and I thought, maybe I could buy it, but then it's like, no. I didn't have enough money, or I didn't have the requirements or whatever, but I never recruited him. And to be honest, when it comes to Mr. Handy units that I can get as a companion, I kind of have to put Codsworth up at the top. RL3, no. Skynet, again, I never recruited them. I don't think I knew, maybe I didn't meet the requirements, but no, I think there were very few companions from Fallout 2 that I actually recruited. Like I said, I know I definitely got Marcus, and I got Goris, but... And John Cassidy, got him too. But besides that, don't really know about much. So yeah, Skynet, never got. Strong. Easy shit tier. This is the only Fallout 4 companion I can say is not, at the very least, good. Strong is just shit. His whole companion quest is ridiculous, honestly. The fact that, he wants to find the milk of human kindness because he misread a quote from a book. And he just acts like a typical pseudonym with just above average levels of intelligence, slightly above. He wants to eat meat, he thinks that humans are silly and weak, I will, crush them and all. There's literally nothing to him. I don't even think he really has a companion quest. Like, you can't convince him that milk of human kindness doesn't exist. He doesn't like anything that doesn't, fit with like a superunit mindset. There's literally no point in having him along. I only had him along once because I wanted to recruit every single companion in Fallout 4. But besides that, no. Strong is just a shit mutant. He's a shit companion. And if I could avoid him, I would. I usually do. I always leave Strong as like the last companion that I recruit for Fallout. Now, we have Sulik. Another one that I just didn't recruit. He looks interesting, don't get me wrong. Seems interesting, but I just never recruited him. So I don't have anything to say about him. And I'm just gonna, actually, let's just do this now. Tycho, yeah, I don't think I ever recruited him. And then Vic, yep, don't think I ever recruited him either. So pretty much anything from Fallout 1 to very few commands But now, Veronica. Okay. Veronica. So, Veronica is great because she is a member of the Brotherhood Steel, but she thinks differently than the Brotherhood. She's more open, she wants to change the Brotherhood so that it actually has a chance to survive, in the world nowadays. No one listens to her, so you can try to kind of convince her to either stay and help out or leave. I was convinced her to leave. She can do a lot better help, outside, even though she doesn't get to see her family again. What's the point if the family, hates you or doesn't like what you do? It's like, why bother? Veronica, but I will say this, just kind of me, it's like, she's gay, and because of that, we'll never have a chance, men. We'll never have a chance. I should have played as a female courier. But that's not really gonna get in the way of my ranking. She is a great companion. I'd put her up here above. I'm putting her above. Yeah, I'm gonna put her above Piper even. No, I can't put her above Piper. I'm gonna put her between Piper and Danse. Veronica's a great companion. I always recruit her. She's great. But I can't put her as God tier. And then X688. Okay, this is a tough one. Because he's really only there if... I haven't really chatted with him that often. I've only done like two Institute playthroughs. And because of that, those are only 2 times I've ever had to have him as companion. Because you can't recruit him unless you get far enough in the Institute questline. And usually, I'm either playing in the Institute questline those 2 times, or if I'm not, I usually get kicked out of the Institute before I can get him as a companion. So, because of that, I kinda don't have much of a connection with him. I think he's cool, don't get me wrong, but he's basically just a synth for the Institute. He has like no redeeming qualities besides that. He has solely focused on them. You really can't do much with him. You can't romance him. You can't like get far enough in his quest line. Yeah. So because of that, I'm sorry. I'm putting him above everyone else, and I think he's a little bit better than that, but yeah. I can't say that he's okay, because I've only had him twice as a companion. So yeah. Now there were a few companions that weren't on here, of course, like Dogmeat, Old Longfellow, and such. We'll just say that if they were on here, like say Dogmeat S tier because he's, or God tier because he's always a great companion in a Fallout game. Rex, I put great tier, and Old Longfellow, I'd probably put in shit tier. I never really used him, and he's just kind of an old sea hag, which is great for Far Harbor, but then anywhere else, nah, not really my cup of tea. And that, everyone, is my tier list for every single companion, besides the ones I just mentioned, in Fallout. I think this is a good representation of what I think are the best companions and worst companions in the game, but I know everyone's going to have a different opinion. There'll be people down in the comments who said, like, why'd you put, X688 in shit tier? You should have been in God tier. And why'd you put, Codsworth in God tier? You should have been in shit tier. You know what? I'd love to hear from you guys down in the comments about where, according to you, I went wrong, but this is where my ranking is for every single companion in Fallout. And that's it for today. But remember, if you like this video and you want to see more, go ahead, like and subscribe down below. Helps out the channel, helps out me. Makes me know that you guys care, and I certainly hope you do. But until next time, people, ta-ta, and goodbye for now.